Help me out.
My turn. Keeps getting better.
How many more bones will you crush?
Now I'm the bad guy.
She wouldn't even harm a fly.
You know that song that's like, She's a Brick House? Was that the inspiration for this movie, or what? Welcome back to Villain Review. Thanks for joining me, and today I'll be reviewing the Monster House from the movie, well, Monster House. If you grew up around this time, you definitely peed the bed a few times thinking about this thing, but is the house an actual good villain? So today on the 136th episode of Villain Review, I'll be breaking it down to find out. Also, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Gus Fring at 10,000 subs. You want to see him. I want to do him. Not like that. I want to review him. So let's make it happen. Okay, I got one more though. Now this right here is what I call a housewife. Am I right? Thank you. Thank you. I'll be here all day.
You fackles! You hooligans! I'll get you!
Circuses kinda suck, especially when there's no Hugh Jackman running around to sing songs with you. Working as an unwilling member of a local freak show, a woman named Constance would often get picked on by children who didn't call her fat. Nah, they just threw stuff at her. Developing a hatred for kids, Constance was completely alone, enduring the abuse with nobody to care for her. Luckily for her though, a young buck named Horace is kinda like Moto, cause he likes him big. Stealing Constance away from the circus, Horace would sweep her off her feet. Constance would sweep him off his feet, and together, the two would begin building a house in the middle of nowhere. But those damn kids, they just can't get enough of throwing stuff at Constance, I swear. Like, the kids in this movie are like addicts for throwing things at big people. Constance would rightfully get very upset at the kids and try to run them off, but instead she'd fall into the pit Andy Dwyer style and get cement poured on her, ending her life. But the movie isn't called Dead Wife House, no, it's called Monster House. When Horace would go on to finish the house by himself, he'd eventually notice that Constance's soul was embedded in the house, giving her control over the entire building. From there, Horace would try to scare the kids away from his home because Constance hates kids, and now that she has a giant carpet tongue to snatch them up with, yeah, she's gonna do that. First of all, I love that the movie gives us an origin for the house, and overall, I think it's pretty good. It gives us so much context to Horace and the house as characters, and even makes us sympathize with Constance's messed up past in the circus. It would have been nice to get more answers about like what happened and the logistics of your dead wife being a house, but it's a kids movie, maybe I'm overthinking it. When I first saw this movie, I was like, why is Constance so pissed about these things? Like, kid throws one thing at her, and then 10 seconds later, she's out there swinging an axe around. Like, dude, chill. But the more you think about it, the more you realize the importance of the circus in her story, because most of her life, she was always just made fun of, and that probably made her very defensive. When almost everyone you encounter looks at you in a negative light, I'm sure it's hard to get used to that not being the case. And I think it's a great way to explain why Constance and the house are just so damn aggressive. Another thing I like is how the house is able to convey so much emotion without ever talking. It would have been so easy to have the house talk and be all like, hey, I'm the monster house. I'm gonna kill you now, dummies. But that would be stupid and not scary at all. But because the design is just so well done and they take advantage of every aspect of the house, it feels like it has so much character, and on a second viewing, it's easy to see that the building and Constance are indeed the same person. And yeah, not sure what else to talk about, because it's a house. Like I said earlier, the horror aspects in this movie are done phenomenally, and it is a great introduction to the horror genre for kids. The house is scary, it's intimidating, and there is so much well done suspense, I think it's fantastic. One of the reasons the house is so interesting is because of how creative a lot of the aspects are. It never gets old. The motion capture in this movie looks a little weird, but everything with the house is fantastic. I'm not going to say the house and its scenes are the only good thing about this movie, because they're not, but it is the film's biggest strength, and everything around the house coming to life and snatching up kids, that's when the film is at its best. There are some confusing moments though that happen just to keep the movie rolling, like How is it not able to know when the kids are inside? But also, like, I'm not going to get too hung up about the logistics of a circus ghost house. There is one scene in this movie, however, that I think is fantastic, and in my opinion, it's easily the film's best, and that's when Nebuchadnezzar has really his last conversation with the house. I think this scene is awesome, and Steve Buscemi does a really good job. It's such a heartbreaking scene for both characters, as we see Nebuchadnezzar finally acknowledge that his wife has become the monster the world made her out to be. To some extent, I feel like Constance also knows this too, and I love how you can see the house look visibly sad. The design and animation here are fantastic. They have this final tender moment, and it seems like Constance might finally come around, but then when she's betrayed by her husband, the only person she's ever had in life, she falls back into crazy house rage mode. Rewatching the movie, this scene in particular stood out to me, and I think the tragic beauty of it makes it the film's best moment. Monster House. Not Nice Guy House, but Monster House. And damn, does it live up to the title. Like, I get Constance hates kids because they love throwing stuff at her, yada yada, but damn, does she even the score. In fact, not even, she probably has like a 10-to-1 ratio. For every stupid kid that threw a banana peel at her, she's probably eaten like 10 of those shits. I know they didn't really die, or at least the people in the movie anyway, but like, the house definitely killed some people, right? Like a Girl Scout or a Mormon. It's safe to assume. Regardless of all the killing it allegedly didn't do, the house has still kidnapped people and held them against their will, and that's not cool, man. Also, I feel like the house was definitely gunning to kill all the characters at the end. It wasn't going to go through all that trouble of running around just to like snatch them up and hold on to them. Yeah, I doubt that. It's definitely got murderous intent. For a kids movie, I think Constance, or Monster House, whatever you prefer, is a very solid introductory villain for kids who want to explore the horror genre. Because it doesn't talk, it's not going to reach the same heights as other classic villains, but it's far from being a bad villain. I think, if anything, the fact that this movie is as memorable as it is, it's a testament to how much they accomplished with the house without really ever having it speak or move out of its locked position. The design and animation give it a surprising amount of character, and the backstory we get is also really solid. It's not like an all-time great villain, but it wasn't trying to be. Instead, it's a very solid villain that you can make a pretty enjoyable movie about. I'm going to give Constance in the Big Blue House a 7.
I've always done what's best for you, haven't I?
Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, you already know I make a new villain review every single Monday. So make sure you subscribe. You don't want to miss them. Let me know what you think of Constance in the comments below. And as always, who I should review next. Thanks again for watching. I'll talk to you later.